Hi, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. Who do we got in here now? Somebody's here. But do we have anything new going on? I just did the video. I did the final video for our part 2 of bounce back players. Should probably, just like that. I sneeze. They were sneezing. Whoever was watching didn't stick around when they saw that. How could you see that and then not stick around? Is anybody coming? Anybody coming into the live stream? Evgeny Malkin to miss 2 months of the season. So Malkin's basically not going to be back until Christmas. That is good. Well. Hey, Mr. Mercer, how you doing? Well, the Montreal Canadiens are injured all the crap. Mike Hoffman is hurt. Most likely out for the entire camp. Mike Hoffman. CL, woo! You heard about Malkin being out for till Christmas? Yeah. I think it's I get a feeling it's pretty darn close to him dropping it. I don't know. That's a lot of injuries to come back from, man. He's injured over and over and over again now. I think it's kind of, the writing is kind of getting on the wall here that it might be time to move on to brighter past, like other things other than hockey. I don't know. Why? Fine by you. Yeah. I just did a video with Yariv from Flyers Nitty Gritty. We talked about a lot of Flyer stuff. Okay, I know what Diablo 2 is, but I wouldn't know why. I wouldn't know much about it besides that. Ooh, I had somebody. Okay, wait a sec. Somebody commented on our video that we did. Well, it's the one I did for the contracts, and they said, I'm honestly shocked he didn't get an offer sheet. A team like Columbus could use real help at center, and the Blues wouldn't be able. Oh, 3.5 or over. Well, that's because Thomas had a terrible year last year. Yeah, I'm just not a video game guy, Lauren, that's all. I'm just not a video game. It has nothing to do with my age. I know what Diablo is, but I never really paid too much about on video games, so that's all it is. He thought that somebody would offer sheet for Thompson at 3.5 and St. Louis would let him go. I don't think so. I think St. Louis would still sign him, even if you offer sheet at 3.5. like Columbus Blue Jackets could use a center and stuff like that. But, I mean, he really did have an absolutely terrible year last year. So it's kind of hard to offer a guy $3.5 million. St. Louis could, he said, well, St. Louis couldn't. St. Louis can make room. Teams can make room. Just role-playing games, yeah. Yeah, not really any video games at all, hardly. A lot of injuries today. Yeah, I think a lot of people just don't want to go to training camp. It's my thing. Now, I wouldn't say that about Paul Byron. Paul Byron's just a walking injury all the time. He's just constantly injured all the time, so... What else do we have here? The Eichel fails physical, which we all know. They stripped his captaincy away, which is obvious. Yeah. I mean, you can't really keep the captaincy on a guy who wants to be traded. But that pretty much solidifies the, pretty much removes any chance of Eichel playing back in Buffalo again. You take the captaincy away, she's over. Like, he is getting traded. I think it was kind of a bad move by the Sabres. Imagine the Sabres making a bad move. I know you think I tell lies, but no, I really do. I really think that it was a bad move for the Sabres. Because now everybody knows he's going to be traded for sure. You can't even kind of pretend he might come back. Really. I suppose you can force him to come back and play for a while to make sure he's healthy still, I suppose. But you know for sure he's not coming back for good. Just for the heck of it, you should have just left the captaincy on him. And, left it out there as a possibility that he could come back. Maybe you could get some more leverage out of it or something. But they didn't. That just, more leverage taken away from a trade because now everybody knows Eichel's not coming back. Logan O'Connor signs a 3-year with the Avalanche at $1 million per. He's a pretty good guy. They invested a lot in him. They let a few players go because they really think Logan O'Connor is going to be the guy for their bottom six. So good for him. $1.1 million for 3 years. Nice. He's probably a pretty happy boy right now. Yeah. Yeah, I think McDavid could still end up winning a cup with the Oilers, but probably despite the fact that he's playing for the Oilers rather than because of it, that's for sure. All right. You drive, sir. But Eichel's going to be out of Buffalo now, however long it takes. He's definitely not going back there. I just don't see him going back there. What did they say? They made a statement about, basically saying we got to move forward with people that want to be here. Is whatever. Honestly, I think the Buffalo Sabres should just shut up. Just do what you're going to do and shut up. Don't say anything else anymore. Until you put a product on the ice that can play and win, I think the best move is to plead the fifth to everything right now. Just don't explain yourself. Don't say why you're doing what you're doing. Just do what you're doing. And I think that's the best thing. Yeah, they did. It was pretty much those two. Yeah, I mean, even Hopkins, the more I think about it, I think Hopkins is overrated, probably overpaid now. Uh, More than likely, Hyman's going to turn out to be pretty average. I mean, this could be an absolute, all of this could be an absolute disaster. All of this. You got to think that McDavid was basically handed to them. They're a fast team. They're trying to trade Cassian now. Like, who's going to take Cassian? Who's going to take Cassian, really? Like, nobody. There was a ridiculous contract when they gave him. He had one good season playing against on McDavid and Draisaitl's line. And then what did they give him? $3 million and something? Like, now they tried. Apparently, they tried to trade him to make cap space. Worth the shot, yeah. Worth the shot, yeah. You can try all you want, but there's nobody going to trade you. I mean, there's times when call up Benning is all I got to say. The first thing I do if I want to trade a player is I'm going to call up Benning and then hope the heck he wants him. I haven't even pulled up the Edmonton Oilers depth chart in a while. But Zach Cassian's getting 3.2 for till 2024. $3 million a year till 2024. And he had 5 points in 27 games. He had 15 goals and 19 assists, 34 points in 2020. Where did they get $3 million for this guy? Yeah, well, that's the thing. Okay. Daryl Katz is the owner of Rexall Drugs. Now, I don't know if you get those in the U.S. Okay. He was hiring, anyway, it's not bad luck. He hires McTavish, Lowe, and then McTavish, all the old guys that played before. And who was that other one? There was one other one. Anyways, they don't work. So he decides, okay, I'm not going to get an ex-Oiler general manager anymore. Chiarelli comes on the market after absolutely butchering the Boston Bruins. And he thinks, okay, this is a executive outside of the organization. I was like, no, you're not going to do it. And they did it. And he was absolutely a disgrace. It's not like it was bad luck. I mean, the guy was terrible already. And then, so that obviously dumpster fired and they got rid of him. So he decided that he wasn't gonna hire anybody more. He was gonna talk to other people. I don't know who they talked to, but he chooses Holland, who basically left the Detroit Red Wings with some of the worst contracts out there. I don't know. Yeah, they hit gold with Trey and McDavid. Yakupov, I mean, it probably wouldn't have been much better if they would have took Murray. But, because that was a guy. Riley was a third, and it was a poor draft year. But apparently, most people in the organization wanted to take Murray over Yakupov for the reasons that Brian Burke said, that he was a disgrace to interview. He was just terrible to interview. In the interview process, he was a jerk. And here we go. The owner, he put his foot down and said, I want this guy. We'll work with his attitude. He's just immature, whatever. I want a guy that can be the 25, 30 goal scorer, whatever the case may be. And then everybody's like, well, the owner wants him, so what are we going to do? And they get him, and look what happened. Now, who was the one that didn't want to commit to play with them? Who am I missing? I'm missing somebody here. Yeah, apparently it was Kat's decision. He had the final decision. Hall, okay. No, that's not true. Hall wanted to stay in Edmonton. That's not true. Hall wanted to stay in Edmonton. What Hall was they made him captain way too young. And he's a raw, like, he's one of those, like, arrogant jock guys. And his way of leadership was talking down to people, and, like, he would basically, he thought he was calling people out, but he was just being an arrogant jerk, I guess, really mouthy and all that. And it finally got to a head by the time Chiarelli got there. And Chiarelli just said, okay, we can't have this in the room anymore. But instead of being patient and just, looking for your best spot, they needed a right defenseman. So they went and tried to find the best right defenseman they could find. And at the time, the market for defensemen was poor, really poor. So apparently they could have had Ristolainen. But they ended up going with Larson. I don't know what Ristolainen would have turned into if he would have been an Oiler, but they probably would have paid him $8 million a year. Let's put it that way. And they go with Larson with nothing in return. That was like nothing else but Larson. That was it. Just Larson. Because they weren't going to have Hall any longer after that season. Oh, Hamilton, what happened with that? Oh, that was terrible too. Apparently they were in on Hamilton, and because Boston wanted 2 firsts and a second. And Edmonton was offering up their first, which was the higher pick, I believe, and 2 seconds or something like that. So they ended up going with Calgary's. And instead of getting Hamilton, they do this knee-jerk reaction and get Reinhart, Griffin Reinhart, for a first and a second. I was like, did you not scout Griffin Reinhart up to this point? He's been an absolute dumpster fire ever since he got drafted. It was brutal. Oh, for Hall? No. For whatever reason, I don't think Hamilton was an option. Was Hamilton there at that time? I don't even know if Hamilton, because Hamilton was drafted. Wasn't Hamilton drafted after that trade? So I don't think he was not. Reinhardt is playing like in the Scottish League or something like that. In the British League or something. Like he has done absolutely nothing since he got drafted. Griffin Reinhardt. Let me look it up. Oh, sorry. He's playing for the Ursulone Roosters in Denmark. He got 11 points in 22 games last year. Played in the KHL for Kunlun Red Star in China. I think that's China. Got 2 assists in 33 games. I don't know what happened to that dude. It'd be interesting to know the backstory behind players like that fall so far off the... Yeah, Jack Eichel's not captain of Buffalo anymore. That's why we kind of got started on that. The 2010s were brutal for first overall. There was a lot of bad drafts in... Uh, 2010 to 20, you mean? The last 10 years? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, Taylor Hall was okay. Hopkins, that was not a great year either. Of course, Yakupov, McKinnon, Ekblad, yeah. The last couple of years have kind of made up for it, though. McDavid, Matthews, Heischer. Oh, that was up until 2010, Taylor Hall. From 2010 to 20. Well, the early 2010 to 2015. The last 5 years seem all right. Malkin out for 2 months, yeah. I don't know. I think this has got to be a swamp. I think this has got to be it for Malkin. Just the guy's injured all the time right now. And there's only so much the body can take, so much recovery. A list of the top Mike Hoffman, yeah. Well, the top of the list would be all right. Connor McDavid, Matthews, McKinnon. And then, like, it's a little early to say Lafreniere, but this 2017 should have been Makar. I didn't understand why people weren't. I had Makar in 2017. That would have made that list look a lot better. Hey, yo. How you doing, Seal? I got to come up with something else now. Go Caps! Woo! We haven't seen Go Caps in a long time. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, I had Makar in that draft year. I had him going number 1. Like, I was like, with all the scouts out there, I was like, I don't understand why everybody's going with Pat Heischer on this. Like, Heischer and Patrick, and I was like, no, man, it's Makar. Makar's the best. He's not on till tomorrow now. Peyton will be on tomorrow now, apparently. We'll see. That's why I should not say, because I shouldn't say because their schedules, I shouldn't even say who's going to be on because I never know who's going to be on. I'd love to have Off the Wall John on again. If you're on a stream with John, tell him. Message him saying, you got to get on with Perlo again. I'd love to get back on with him again. Same as Hot Takes Hockey. That would be great. All of those guys would be good. I'll be on, though. Peyton and I will be doing shows in the evenings. We'll be doing shows during the games when games start. So that'll be fun. Our NHL players most likely to have a rebound part 1 is 5 away from 100 views. 5 away. I'm going to set this up so. So I got to come up with another idea. Well, a lot of people are happy with it because there's a lot of people out there that had packages that got all the games that they were paying a lot of money for, and now they don't have to pay for it because it's on ESPN. So that's what ESPN is doing. So you won't have a center ice package anymore. I still got to pay for center ice package. Honestly, I'd be happy if we should be able to get ESPN. I wonder if I can just get ESPN and get all the games. Are they going to show like all the games every night on ESPN? Are they going to show how is that going to work? Because I don't know, because I'm in Canada, so I don't hear stuff about ESPN, but are they going to show all the games on ESPN? TNT? ABC and TNT. See, I got center ice package, but I got to pay for that. I pay $200 a year for that. I get every single game, every single night, all the time, up until the playoffs, and then you get all the games anyway, so they don't have it. But I get every single game that's on all the time. If I could have ESPN and get like most, if not all the games, and I wouldn't have to pay, that'd be sweet. TSN, yeah, but TSN doesn't show hockey at all. Sportsnet has all the hockey. TSN, the only way you watch TSN is if you buy a bonus package. I don't know what it is, but they have some games that play that they get that for Toronto games. The occasional games that way, but ESPN bought up the whole package pretty much. I'm going to look at some rumor stuff. The Canucks are saying that they're close to sign on Hughes and Pettersson extensions. They don't think they're that far apart. This runs counter to reports of some insiders who say there hasn't been much progress made in contract talks, and the team and players are no closer to a big deal being done than they were days and even weeks ago. So Benning says that they're close to signing him, and insiders say otherwise. I spoke to Jack. This is about Jack Eichel. I spoke to Jack 2 days ago. This is Adams. I spoke to the team yesterday and addressed this. Jack Eichel is no longer captain of the Buffalo Sabres. From our perspective, the captain is the heartbeat of your team, and we are in a situation where we felt we needed to make that decision. So he's not really the heartbeat of your team, is he? No. So who's going to be the captain of the Buffalo Sabres now? I imagine they'll wait. Yeah, the St. Louis Blues hire Hitchcock. He's like just acting as a coach consultant. So I don't know exactly what he would do in that role or whatever. Yeah, Sportsnet is the one that has all the hockey. TSN is more... TSN now has become CFL. CFL football. They do a lot of soccer, basketball. They do lots of baseball. They get all the baseball games that are not Toronto Blue Jays. They've almost become, you're right though, they're almost become like more American, because they do football games, NFL football games. They do baseball games that are not Blue Jay related, somewhat Blue Jay related. They usually do the games that are in the same division as the Jays. They do a lot of New York games, of course. The Leafs changed the power play coach. I have no idea. Who is their power play coach now? I know one thing. If you've got that group and you've got a bad power play, you probably got to fire the coach. I mean, I would have to think so. But I don't know. Who is it? Is it anybody I know? Yeah, Ken Hitchcock had that role for a while with the Oilers too. I'm just surprised he did it with the St. Louis Blues. I imagine he's not going into the office every day. He lives in the Alberta area. He lives in Sherwood Park here in Edmonton. So if he must, as a consultant, he must be going in, like, doing live streams with people and stuff like that. And in the when they have meetings and stuff like that, he probably live streams and listens in and puts in his 2 cents or whatever. I don't know. I doubt very much he'd be going to hang out to live in St. Louis. Could be wrong. I might be wrong, but it just doesn't seem likely to me that he would be doing that. Carter Hart is from Sherwood Park, yeah. One of the trainers at my gym used to play with Carter Hart. Sherwood Park is like basically the same as Edmonton. You drive east and Edmonton basically turns into Sherwood Park. Yeah, one of the trainers at my gym, he's a young guy, and he's a trainer at my gym, and he played against Carter Hart in Sherwood Park. That's why, I've been really high on him for a long time. I was really surprised that he took a step back like he did last year. Like, up until last year, the guy was just a mental giant. Like, nothing seemed to affect that guy at all. So, I was really surprised that, like, it happened to anybody. I really do think he's gonna have a bounce back season, though. I do. I think he'll bounce back. I'm leaning that way. Maturity. The only thing that has me cautious about saying that, though, is, again, Hextall is a great hockey mind. He was probably the best general manager that Philadelphia Flyers have had for a long time. Being an ex-goaltender, he knows the psyche of goaltenders and probably has a pretty good read on what goaltenders are going to do well in the NHL and how to develop them. And he was dead set that he wasn't going to have Carter Hart play for another year or two even. And there was probably good reason for that. So, I'll admit at the time, I was like, man, that guy's ripping it up in the AHL. Like, you need a goaltender. From what I've ever seen of him, he's like nothing bothers the kid. Never has. But a goaltender would probably know. I don't know. They fired Ron Hextall because Ron Hextall's plan in Philadelphia, it seemed, was to do a lot of what Chicago did, where they're rebuilding, but they're keeping veterans to help the young guys along as they rebuild. So you don't get the best draft picks, but you get a really good development group. And his mantra was, don't bring anybody up until they're ready. I don't care. Until I say they're ready, I don't care where we are in the standings. I don't care. And just keep on drafting, pick up picks as much as you can until you have, and speed up the process by having these veterans that are going to help these kids become pros. That's basically what Chicago did. Except Chicago was really sly about it because Chicago didn't tell anybody. they were doing it. But it was very obvious to me anyways, I don't know, to most people, that they were obviously rebuilding. But players in the room, they don't think of it that way. As long as nobody tells them they're rebuilding, to them, they just come in, try to win a cup, and move on. But Hextall, they kind of said, Hextall was one of the first general managers that brought up this whole idea of retooling. And he actually did a very quick kind of rebuild. But anyways, he wanted to be more patient. He didn't want to go out and get any free agents. He wanted to build from within, keep on building, and when Carter Hart was ready, that he thought he was ready, then maybe we'll get some free agents and stuff like that. Not what Chuck Fletcher did, where, you know, he basically said, okay, screw this, we're going to go get Niskanen and some veterans right now. We're going to bring Carter Hart up. We're going to cross our fingers that Hextall's wrong and the kid can handle it mentally and we don't ruin him and all of those things like that. That was from an owner's choice, really. I personally was on the side of Hextall. I thought Hextall had... I think rebuilding like that is the best way to go. But we'll see what happens now. I mean, when you don't rebuild like that, you end up taking risks. And sometimes those risks pay off, like Montreal Canadiens, for instance. Short term, anyways. Pays off. Sometimes it pays off and you go on a run and it works well. Like if Ristolainen turns himself around and becomes what he always was projected to become in a very, very short amount of time. Atkinson, this was like just got a little stale in Columbus, and he comes up and gets back to being a 30-goal scorer again. Carter Hart was just an anomaly for 1 year, and he goes back to crushing it. You know, then things are great, but there's a lot of ifs with all of those things I just said. So... taking the long road and building through the draft and the way Hextall seemed to be doing it, I think usually pays off better in the end. But like I said, sometimes you can catch lightning on the bottle in a bottle here. Carter Hart, which I think he will have a rebound year here and do very, very well. If he crushes it like we know he can crush it, the rest of the whole team dynamics aren't so important. Like any holes that happen can be covered by that alone. So either way, if that happens, then Chuck Fletcher looks like a genius. If Carter Hart struggles and Chuck Fletcher just gave up a pile of picks to get Ristolainen, who, if he doesn't turn around if he ends up still being like the guy in Buffalo that is over aggressive and goes out of position to pinch and all of, poor defensively and all of that kind of stuff like that, and he got to give him a qualifying offer of $5 million or $6 million a year, and you lose him, he can look terrible. He can look absolutely terrible. So there's a lot of risk there, that's for sure. I don't know. You never know with Toronto. Brendan Shanahan could be there for 10 years or he could be fired tomorrow with Toronto. You just never know with them. Personally, I think that they got another year to show growth, and hopefully they get more cap room. Like, I think they can fall back on the COVID cap room thing for a while. You know, everything would have went well if we didn't have COVID and all that kind of stuff like that. And they would have, the cap wouldn't have went up the way they originally planned. But I don't know if Shanahan's job's on the line. Okay, I think I'm just going to go down. I think I'm going to play biggest questions. The biggest questions for the Anaheim Ducks, starting with Anaheim and working our way down. Anaheim Ducks. What's the biggest question mark? I might do a video on this. Let's do this. What's the biggest question mark for the Anaheim Ducks? Woo! What was that for, CL? With a big woo. What, like when I say biggest question mark, it's like, what's the most intriguing part of the Anaheim Ducks this year? I think that's a better way to put it. Yeah, most intriguing. What's the most intriguing thing about the Anaheim Ducks this year? Do you need any help with what intriguing means? I'll let you guys answer first. I have my idea. Like, what about when you look at the Anaheim Ducks, what makes you go like, that's going to be interesting? The most interesting thing about the Anaheim Ducks this year. Zegras, that's exactly what I would have said. Zegras being a 1C. That would be mine too. Doesn't it feel like Zegras is like getting set up almost to have the same problem as Eichel? I mean, they did give him a little more time to develop than Eichel, of course. But see, in the NCAA, he had just over a point a game. In the World Junior Championships, we know he crushed it. But he had 9 assists. He didn't have any goals in that series. He had 9 assists. He is more of a playmaker. But then he went to the AHL and he had 21 points in 17 games, which is really good. Oh, and then the World Junior Champions last year was spectacular. But doesn't it feel like they might end up like playing him too early? The question is, we're going to go down every team and say, what's the most interesting or intriguing thing about each team this year? That's true. Good point, CL. Good point. Very good point. He does have... And then when they did finally bring O'Reilly in to kind of mentor him, he lasted a year and then told the truth and they traded him. That was ridiculous. That was totally ridiculous. So the question is, what's the most intriguing thing about the Anaheim Ducks? CL said Zegras being a number 1, and I agree. My next one would have been, are they going to trade Manson and Lindholm? will still live up to the hype. I think it's come to the point now where it doesn't look like he will. I'll put that in there, though. Will still live up to the hype. I like this one. This is going to be good. We'll get this done over 2 days probably. We'll try to get to Montreal by today. Yeah, it's probably going to be a bad year for sure. But that is probably the most... Okay. This one's going to be tough. I'm pretty sure this will be a short one. What's the most interesting thing about the Coyotes? I guess the only thing you can say is, will they win the lottery? How bad will they be? That's got to be it, right? Is there anything else interesting? Oh, where will Kessel go? Where will Kessel go? Will they get, yeah, will they win the lottery? Will they win the lottery, and where will Kessel go? That's probably interesting, but besides that, there's not much interesting about that team, I would say. Will Carter Hutton break a record for the worst save percentage in NHL history? That might be interesting. Anyways, oh wait, I gotta shoot. Just wait. I gotta make sure I'm putting this up here. Arizona. The Boston Bruins. The most interesting thing about the Boston Bruins this year. Where will they play next year? The most interesting thing about the Boston Bruins. You think Allmark is the most interesting thing? Cool. That's a good one. How will Allmark do? Maybe like Allmark versus Swayman. Go Swayman. How will Hall perform? And I'll throw one in there and say, who will be the second line center? Who will be their second line center? That to me is probably, that's pretty, That's one of the biggest questions about the Bruins, I would say. Who will be their number one goaltender? Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. How will Ullmark and Swayman go? Like, who will win the number one spot between Ullmark and Swayman? I don't even know that answer, actually. I'm leaning Swayman, but that would be pretty impressive because Ullmark really did look good in Buffalo the last year and a half or so. And, I could see either one being the case. All right. That's good. That's three good questions right there. So, Buffalo Sabres, now that we just brought it up. Most interesting thing about the Buffalo Sabres this year. Where will Eichel go? Yeah, that's the big one, right? Where will Eichel go? That's got to be the biggest thing. There's really nothing else interesting besides that. Where will Eichel go? Who will be their number one goaltender? But I think that is going to be Luukkonen. I think they're really, really high on Luukkonen. And they brought in Anderson as a real big veteran to help them acclimate into the NHL. I think that's going to be the guy. Will Dahlin bounce back? Who will they name as captain? And I don't even know, I wonder if they just go do what a lot of teams do and just kind of play out the year and then choose who's going to be captain. Like, I don't think you want to give Dahlin the captaincy right now. Really, like, is there... Yeah, I don't know if you want to go again and give it to a young player again. That is like... Jeff Skinner. We'll give it to Jeff Skinner. Maybe like Cody Eakin or something just for a year or two. Take somebody that's been... I don't even know. I don't think they'll give it to anybody at first. I certainly won't. I don't think they'll give it to anybody until after the Eichel trade for sure. I would say. Maybe after the Eichel trade, then they'll do it. But those are two really good questions. Those are two really good. This is why I like doing this, man. I come up with like I've been doing videos for a lot of years. I restarted this one since I did it. But I'm telling you, my videos have never been so good since I started doing it this way. This has been awesome. Will they win the lottery? Yeah. The three questions, will they win the lottery? Okay, let's go to Calgary now. My gosh. Calgary, I think it's Calgary, right? Buffalo and then Calgary. We're getting into the C's. I always screw up the C's. Calgary's most interesting thing. I'll let you guys go. I'll keep my mouth shut because you're probably going to take mine anyways. I don't want to take it out of your mouth. Who will be the Flames' new coach and GM? Yeah. Do you think both the coach and the GM are going to get fired? Sutter's going to get fired after 1 year. Treliving's going to get fired. I could see Treliving get fired. I got one major one, though. It's been one that's been, I'll give you a hint. It's been one that's been going on for a question for a long time. Can they make the playoffs? My question is, will Gaudreau be there? Will Gaudreau be there past the deadline? Rich people go through Kleenex, yeah. I guess Calgary Flames. What about Coleman? There, you brought it up. CL. Yeah, how's Coleman going to do? That is very interesting. How many times have we seen it that you get these guys that are primarily third or fourth line guys? They go into an organization, usually a good organization like Tampa Bay. They put up some decent offensive numbers. And then somebody out there says, that's the kind of guy we need. They get the big money. They go to the other team and they're garbage. Or at least they're not worth the money that they gave them. And what if Coleman is just a third liner, 30-point guy? What if he's just that? What if that's all he is? And he's making $5 million a year in Calgary for the next whatever long. That, to me, that's like the biggest question, one of the biggest questions that comes to my mind. And if they suck, will Gaudreau get traded? Monahan? Yeah, it just seems like there could be an absolute implosion in Calgary this year. And it seems likely that that implosion will happen. Am I right? We need one more question, though. Oh, you guys said, will Treliving get fired? I'm going to say, because I don't think they'll fire Sutter. I think they'll fire Treliving. If Sutter leaves, it'll be they'll make it seem like it was his idea that he wanted to go. I don't think they'll fire Sutter. Sutter basically came to their rescue and all that kind of stuff like that. I think if he decided to leave, it wouldn't be firing. But Treliving, I think this could be on the block for him. If Calgary doesn't have a good year here, I mean, look at all the stuff that's happened. He's fired. Hasn't he fired 2 coaches already? This has got to be it. They got to have a year where they're going in a good direction here, or it's it for Treliving. I would have to think. So I guess next would be Carolina, right, Lauren? Oh, there's a lot of question marks with Carolina. Tons of question marks with Carolina. Will the goalies be healthy? I'll say this. I think if Ranta and Anderson are both healthy, which would be something, I think Ranta steals the #1 job. Yeah, how will KK? How will KK perform? That's a good one. And I think a big question is, how is D'Angelo going to do? You say, how will the defense hold up? But I think the big one is, how will D'Angelo do? That is very intriguing. I think if D'Angelo ends up playing really well, I can't see there's too much question mark in the rest of that defense, like Shea and Pesci, Slavin. Like, there's no question mark there. And Bear, yeah. I'll go D'Angelo and Bear. But there's no question mark with E and Cole. Maybe defensive depth. Joey Keane should be ready this year, though. Pretty sneaky little pickup in Jalen Chatfield. But, I mean, he didn't really have all that much success in Vancouver. Hey, Bill, how you doing? Thanks for coming in and helping out here, bud. I hope they keep on going with the storm surge. That was the best thing ever. And for all the people out there that thought, oh, like Don Cherry with the bunch of jerks, you're the jerks. People like to have fun. Why you gotta poop on people having fun? Really? Like, oh no, they're having too much fun. That's not traditional. Well, maybe it's time we start having fun, since it's called the hockey game. Who plays a game or goes and watches a game that isn't fun? Oh, the game is all that matters. We don't need all the extra stuff. No, we don't need it. We don't need extra stuff, but it's awesome to have, like, let's stop tailgate parties because it takes away from the football game. Like, shut up. Sorry, that's my rant. It's ridiculous. I think we should have more of it. I want more goal celebrations, big time goal celebrations. Huge. I love the Kuznetsov thing and everything. Yeah, absolutely. Shove it down their throats in a fun way. I love it. Yeah, yeah, he stripped Buffalo of his. How dare teams have pregame shows? Exactly. You know what? I'm Canadian, and this is like most of the people that are like this are Canadians, and they're like these Canadian snobs. You see it in Edmonton. I go to Oilers games, and they sit there like they got their legs crossed, and they're like, "Oh, excellent move, McDavid. Oh, fantastic. Good for you. Well done, sir." Like, they're too cool to get up out of their chairs and freaking lose their minds and stuff like that. Like, these are the guys that are like, we need to protect the integrity of the game. Shove it up your, I don't like, go away. Go, pay your money, whatever, but thank God it's over. Thank God we got owners like Dondon and stuff like that to make this game as entertaining as possible. Yeah, I want to see like people doing like acrobatics on the arena ceiling and do whatever you got to do, man. I love Vegas. Like, make it a show. This is nonsense. I don't listen. Those people are the reason why we haven't been successful in the United States for as long as we have. I'm glad it's over with. No, Bill, that was the thing I talked about to start off with, Bill. Good point. Good point. No, that's the thing about stripping that the captaincy is now everybody knows he's going to be traded. He can't come back now. Like, there's no way. So it was a tough decision though, because also he didn't want to have it in the players' heads that he was still the captain or there was a thought of him coming back. So he had to weigh out these options, right? And you're trying to work on the morale of a team, and you're not going to take the captaincy away from a guy who doesn't want to be here. So I don't think it was an easy decision for Adams to do that, because he had to weigh out the fact that if he kept the captaincy on the Sabres, on Eichel, then there might be some question of whether he may come back, in which case it would increase his leverage in trades, right? But taking it off, it pretty much removes any idea that he's coming back, I'm pretty sure. It would be pretty tough to remove the captaincy, go through everything that they have, and then have him come back and play. Maybe they can try to smooth it over and say, you know what, he's coming back just so he can get traded, but that would be very difficult, I think. I just, yeah. Okay, so Carolina, we got, will goalies be healthy? How will KK perform? And how will D'Angelo and Bear do? So Bill and anybody in here, what we're doing is we're asking what are the three most interesting things from each team. And now we are going to, yes, the Chicago Blackhawks. The Chicago Blackhawks. Wow, I mean, I'm sure you guys will knock it out of the park what the first one is. I've got two real big ones that come right to my mind right away with Chicago Blackhawks. Yeah. Taves. Will Taves bounce back? I believe he will, because he's Taves, man. The guy's a freaking giant of, one of the greatest leaders in not only in hockey, but of all sports. Jonathan Taves. Will Lankinen be as good as last year? With Fleury, I don't know if he's going to get the opportunity. Marc-Andre Fleury. That's even good. That's not even a question. Just Marc-Andre Fleury. That is the most intriguing thing to me, for sure. And then Jones. Will Jones bounce back? Will Jones fit in Chicago? That's got to be the three most big ones. I think Jones will fit in Chicago because Chicago is a very offensive-minded team. They're built for offense. Their whole mindset is offense. Colaton has them playing an extremely offense-orientated system, and I think Jones is just going to be like a kid in a candy store for that. It's going to be Lankinen will be in goal if Fleury don't play. But Marc-Andre Fleury, will Marc-Andre Fleury do what Marc-Andre Fleury does? And if he does, I say this team makes the playoffs. If Fleury plays as good as he did last year, I think Chicago makes the playoffs this year. He's just that good. He's that good. That's the reason why I don't understand why people don't spend more time or drafting goaltenders. You gotta, having a guy like Fleury or Price when he's healthy. What happened with Lankinen last year is he pooched out at the end. It was just a lot for a rookie goaltender to play as much as he did. And now he won't have to. I don't know how much they're going to play him. But Fleury, to me, is the most interesting thing. Because if Chicago is out of it for whatever reason, almost assuredly, he's going to be traded. And I think that would be Pittsburgh. I think I just got a... I think almost assuredly that would be the Pittsburgh Penguins he would get traded to. I bet you. Wouldn't that be amazing? He gets to finish off his career in Pittsburgh. I know CL won't like that idea too much. I imagine now CL will be rooting for Chicago to be in a playoff position so they don't trade Fleury. Oh, we got to go to the Avalanche now. Okay. Avalanche. Yeah, I agree. How will Kemper do? How will Darcy Kemper do, I think, is definitely the biggest question. Coming from Arizona, I mean, I think the answer to that is I would be flabbergasted if Kemper doesn't have an incredible year this year. Like, how could he possibly not work with Colorado with that defense? If he can do what he did. Enough, CL, enough. I got to get Chicago up here. Chicago, Colorado. You got to really look for this one. because they're almost the same team as last year. Okay, I've got two. Do we have any other ones? Yeah, Will Kadri settle down. Oh, by the way, I'll be right back. I got to show you something. Do another one. That is a very good one. Awesome. I'll be right back. I got to show you guys something. Can you guys see that? Awesome, eh? Marvin the Martian. I just got it today, man. Haha. I love that. Love it. Okay, so what do we got? Will Kadri settle down? How will Kemper do? Marvin the Martian. Yeah, buddy. The Illudium Q36 Explosive Space Modulator. Here's my favorite quote from Marvin the Martian. We'll have a little bit. Here's my favorite quote from Marvin the Martian. I think man is the most interesting insect on Earth. Don't you? There is a growing tendency to think of man as a rational thinking being, which is absurd. Anyways, I love Marvin the Martian. Love, love, love. Okay, so we got how will Kemper do? We'll just do 2 for the Avalanche. Let's go to the next one. When will NHL players get cut? It's a ways away yet, Weichel. I think not that long, but like at least a week, I think. Colorado, next is... Who am I forgetting? Who's next? Oh, I had it here too. NHL teams in alphabetical order. I'll do it again. Columbus Blue Jackets. There's really, I mean, is there anything interesting about the Blue Jackets? Yeah, the most intriguing thing I think is what's Laine going to do? What's Laine going to do? Yeah, the Jackets win the lottery. I think what's Laine going to do? Would you agree with that one? I got another one too, but Voracek will Domi ever play another NHL game? Will Laine get traded? Yeah, Laine is the most intriguing part on that. New coach, that's the one, buddy. I knew you'd come up with it. Larson, right? You think Laine will be traded? I don't think they want to trade Laine. I don't. See, it is a very intriguing one. We can talk about it for a little bit. I don't think they want to trade Laine. The question is, will Laine want to be in Columbus? I don't think Laine really cares about where he lives. I think he's fine in living in Columbus. It's going to be, will the coach have the same philosophy as him? That's the main thing. To Arizona or Buffalo. Oh, that would be terrible. After having all that crap in Buffalo, you think they're going to go out and get Laine, a guy who has questionable character? Not saying he has bad character, but I mean, he's done some things that make you question his character for sure. Blue Jackets coach. I think the other one for me would be Brad Larson. How will Brad Larson do? And I think the other one, after Merzlikins, first of all, he got the contract. Well, it's not first of all, but first of all, he comes out and says that he's going to play for Kivlenieks. Like Kivlenieks got Will Elvis, yeah. Will Elvis crush it for his friend? Will Elvis crush it for Kivlenieks? I think that's how you say it. I guess I better figure out how to say it if I'm going to do it. But will Elvis do it for Kivlenieks? So we got 3 for the Blue Jackets. Now we got to go Dallas, right? Am I remembering this properly now? Did I finally get this right? Dallas it is? Should be Dallas now, because I kept on forgetting Dallas before. What is the most interesting or intriguing thing about the Dallas Stars this year? I think there's lots, Dallas Stars, because they had such a weird year last year. I did not forget Dallas, finally. I don't know why I always forgot Dallas before, but I did not forget Dallas this one. I think there's quite a few questions here. Trying to pick the 3 best might be the harder thing. There's a lot of questions from Dallas. I don't think they're going to fire their coach. I don't know if I'll put that one down. I really think that that's, unless it's like, if they absolutely crap the bed, then maybe, yeah. But I think they really like him there. Will they give up on Bishop? Again, the goaltending situation, right? I get the feeling that they don't think that Bishop might not, like, it might be close, getting to an end for Bishop. I get that feeling. How is their goaltending situation going to pan out? Because you've got Ostermeyer, what's his name? Oh, I got to bring Dallas up here, so... You know me. I'm a big supporter of Audie. Where do they have Ottinger? I'm a big supporter of Ottinger. I personally think Ottinger's going to take that #1 spot from everyone. Like, it don't even matter. I don't know why they're not trading Hudobin now. I still think they're going to trade Hudobin. I think what's going to happen is they're going to trade Hudobin, and Holtby and Ottinger are going to be their goaltenders. How is Ben going to play center? Why is Ben going to play center? You got Ropo Hintz and Tyler Seguin. Where did you hear that they were going to play Ben at center? Dallas is like, how many injuries will they have? Yeah, I can't see Ben playing center. Maybe if there's injuries, maybe not. I don't know. Let me look that up. Because who's going to play wing? They need wingers more than centermen, I believe. Yeah, like he did do well at center last year, but are they going to keep him playing at center? Yeah, I don't. And when he did play center, I think he pretty much took the draws and then shifted to the wing. So I don't know. I find it odd that they would say that. Pretty respectable thing, The Athletic, for sure. A lot of good writers there, but that seems odd to me. How many injuries? Who will what goaltending? That would be the big two ones, I think. Radulov, yeah. Okay, I remember Dallas Stars. Now we are going to go to Detroit Red Wings. Pretty sure now. Right? The Red Wings. Well, I can look it up. I got it here. Yeah, Detroit Red Wings. Detroit Rock City. The Leafs are better than Tampa Bay Lightning? Okay. You got some Leafs fans that probably are... It sounds like you got some Leafs fans there that are a little too happy that they legalized marijuana. Yes. That's always the question in Detroit right now. But this year, I think more than any is how will the young players do? There's a lot of young players that are right on the cusp this year. Can Ned be good on a bad team? Good one, buddy. Good one. Both of those are great. Yes. How is Nedeljkovic going to handle a weaker defense? That's a very good one. I'm going to put this up on TikTok for a while. Can Ned be good on a bad team? Okay, what else we got here? That took up quite a few. Just look at Moritz Seider will be part of that. I think how good will Verana be in a full year? How good will Verana be in a full year after he just crushed it at the last part of last year after the trade? Is he going to be able to keep that up over a full year? I think he will, but it's going to be it's going to be interesting to see. And then, of course, now this should be interesting to hear some comments. The Edmonton Oilers. Answer for Ned is very poorly. I agree. I don't think he's going to do as well either. Bobby Ryan on a PTO is interesting, yeah. Is he going to make the team? But I think the real big question is, after Verana crushed it after the trade last year, is Verana going to be is Verana going to crush it again? Will the Oilers make the playoffs? Yes, they will, probably, but we could say that for every team. I think the first one for me is pretty... I think there's so many questions on the Oilers. Jeez. But I think the first one's the most intriguing one would be their biggest two moves of the year. They would be the most intriguing ones. I'm surprised that people haven't popped it out right now, like all over it. I thought this one would be like bang, 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 bang. But then I follow Edmonton more, so probably that's why I would think that. Can Mike Smith hold it together at 39 years old? Can Mike Smith hang in there? Yeah, that's a big one. Well, that's a big one too. You don't see a lot. What about will Zach Hyman be successful? Will Zach Hyman live up to the hype? Live up to that huge contract? And as much as I agree with you, I don't think as many people are paying attention to Turris. Most people probably think Turris is going to suck again. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. He better, yeah. I think another one is, will Duncan Keith? What's Duncan Keith going to be like in Edmonton? With their overall defense in general. Will Holland be fired? Probably not. Holland will probably be there for the next 20 years. I wouldn't doubt it. Will Keith pan out? Yeah, I mean, Mike Smith is a warrior, and that's one thing they got going for them, though. But I still don't like the idea of having a 39-year-old goaltender as your number one and have a guy that's basically been inconsistent like Koskinen as your backup if anything happens or whatever. Like, Koskinen has pretty much showed over and over again that Koskinen's pretty much showed over and over again that he can't take a lot. Like, he can't play a lot. He's not really even a 1B, I don't think. He doesn't seem to be able to handle the physical aspects of the NHL. Anyways, I want to get a couple more in here at least. We got that. We got that. So Edmonton, Florida Panthers. Florida Panthers. I think the first one's the most intriguing part of the Florida Panthers is how will Bennett, Reinhardt, and Lindell do? That's kind of 3 questions, but that's all right. Lindell's going to be super interesting, and Knight. Can Knight be the number 1? And of course, no, that's not even a question. Thornton's going to be crap. Thornton's going to be terrible. Which Bobrovsky? The one, yeah, that's, okay, let's do it that way. Which Bobrovsky? The one that was good and the one that was absolute garbage? That would be 3 good questions right there. I think one of the things is, will Spencer Knight take the number 1 away from Bobrovsky? And I think that's likely. And what are they going to do after that? Will Bobrovsky be the most expensive backup in the NHL history? In the history of the NHL, will Bobrovsky be the most expensive backup in NHL history? That's pretty much what that question is. Los Angeles Kings. Los Angeles Kings. That's a pretty good one too. Will he win the Jack Adams? I think it's less likely he'll win this year, which is too bad because he already did well. I think last year was the year, and I still say, as much as I love Brind'Amour, I still say Q should have won last year. But they may give it to him if he goes to the final. If Florida's first in that division, or even more so the conference, then probably I would say he could very well win it. That's interesting. That usually goes to a team that people don't expect to make the playoffs, and they do. Watch out for the Columbus Blue Jackets this year. Kekalainen's a pretty smart guy. He probably found an absolute mint of a coach. And I just have a feeling like they've done it over and over again. Before it was put on Tortorella, but it would be interesting to see if Lindsay can go do it now. But the LA Kings is a little tough. It's not really much in. I think with the Kings is like it's most intriguing thing quite often is how will the young players do? Will Byfield play this year? Byfield or Turcotte. Will Byfield and Turcotte play this year? How will Byfield do? Look at that. Lauren put him in there. Yeah, will Byfield play? Will he play on? And how well will he do? That's a pretty big one. How will Dan O do in LA? I think he's going to crush it. You could say how will Dan O and Arvidsson. Yeah, that's going to be amazing, eh? Two Selke. And I think Kopitar is going to get an opportunity to play way more offense. And I'm going to put that one down too. Since you pretty much said that. You don't hear too much about LA, yeah. They've got a lot of young players like Kaliev that's ready, Kapari, Byfield, Turcotte. Like how are their young players going to fit into the roster? Almost like what Detroit does. How will young players fit into their roster? They got a lot of good young players in LA. And that's why a lot of people are on LA right now, is because they've been building this team, and a lot of their youth is ready right now to break, and they've been bringing them along slowly. So they're ready in a way that like they're ready. Kupari and Kaliev can make this team absolutely fantastic. It might be 1 year too soon for the hype, though. It might need one more year. But it's going to be pretty interesting to see. Did we make it to Montreal? No, it's Minnesota next. Let's see if we can make it to Montreal. Minnesota Wild. Most interesting thing about the Minnesota Wild this year. Most intriguing, I think, is a better way to put it. I don't find this overly intriguing. They got Kaprizov. Can Kaprizov do it again, I suppose? Yeah, I agree. Yeah, how will Kaprizov play now that he got paid? I think that's probably the biggest one. Can Talbot keep it up? I think the other one might be, they got, again, a young guy. Can Marco Rossi make the roster? They're pretty high. I know they're pretty high on Rossi there. The bottom pair of I agree. Merrill and Kulikov, I wouldn't even put them together, seriously. Like, between the two of them, who's going to get the puck out of the zone? Like, that would be... And I think they need to do more there. But they are huge on Rossi in Minnesota. Even though he was injured last year and took the year off, when I go on Minnesota boards, they are like, Rossi's going to play next year. Rossi's going to be their number one next year. They all think that. So, should be pretty interesting to see. I know the kid's pretty amazing, but when you get injured and you miss a year pretty much, you can come back and take a number one spot on an NHL team at 19 or 20 years old or whatever. I can almost assure you Merrill will be trash. How is he going to be any different than he's ever been? He's not an NHL defenseman. I don't know why they keep on... I don't know. That guy must do some special stuff in the room that I probably don't want to hear what it is, because I don't know how the heck... I think there's players in the AHL that can do better than Merrill. I don't know. I was surprised as heck that Minnesota took Merrill. Like, grabbed Merrill. Like, with all the players available, like, they must have pretty much been out on everybody. Nobody wanted... I think Minnesota had a difficult time getting a defenseman there, because you're signing a one-year deal, but then they're going to be in cap hell next year, and pretty much you're not going to stay there. Like, Merrill pretty much knows he's going to live in Minnesota for a year and then go wherever after that. So you weren't going to get the greatest defenseman in that spot. And they didn't, because Merrill's not it. Yeah, that's going to be the difficult thing. That's the reason why I said I think Minnesota might miss next year in that really tough division. And but on the other side of it, Dean Evason's an absolute genius, and he might get him in. I think Dean Evason should win Coach of the Year next year if the Wild make it, but he probably won't because of all the Kaprizov hype. But that bottom pair on defense is bad. And if they get injuries to their defense, they're in trouble, at least on paper anyways. Anyways, Montreal Canadiens, and then we're out of here. I'll run a little late. Montreal Canadiens. This should be pretty easy. There's so much that happened in Montreal. There's got to be tons of question marks for Montreal. Will they regret not matching KK? Will they ever admit it? I don't think they would ever admit it, even if they do. Let's put it this way. If they lose, they just got to say, well, it's not because KK wasn't there. I think Dvorak is definitely... Right now, Dvorak was probably a better player than KK. I think Dvorak will play really well for KK. I agree. For Montreal. How will Dvorak do? I think the other one is how do they do without Weber? I mean, really, that's the biggest thing. With all the moves they make, like, does Savard cover up Weber? No, not a chance. Savard doesn't cover up Weber. Which one's bigger? How is Romanov going to step up? Are they going to give him an opportunity this year? Will Romanov make up for Weber's absence? That's really what it comes down to. It's got to be Romanov. Savard's not going to. Romanov has the upside that possibly he could. And then, of course, how will... You've got that top line that could be just amazing, but it's so young. Caulfield, Suzuki, and Toffoli. Oh, wait a sec. How will Drouin do? I think that's a bigger question than anything right now. How will Drouin do? That's going to be huge. Nobody wants to say it right now because he's coming off of basically saying that he had anxiety issues. But the truth is, Drouin is the Oilers' season, or the Canadian season this year. They so desperately need Drouin. I think Drouin will probably be, maybe, I don't know. Probably be the same, I guess. I don't know. Like, this is a guy that wasn't sleeping for days. He was having insomnia and then not sleeping for days and then playing games. And still pulling up 40 to 50 points. I don't know. I think if he's getting some sleep and his head's in the right place with his talent, I think he could have a great year. I think he could have a career year this year. I'm not saying he's going to, but... Whitechell, waiting for Toronto. You're going to have to wait for tomorrow for Toronto. Well, who says that he wasn't having those problems the whole time, Lauren? Anxiety is usually something that creeps up and people don't say anything about for a very long time. Because they're just tell themselves, okay, I got to do better, or I got to do better. They'll just, I'll just come right out and say it. I suffered with anxiety for years. I didn't even know it. A lot of times you don't even know you really are struggling with anxiety because it's so normal to you. You just think everybody has, dwells on issues to the point where you can't sleep and you think about it all the time and your heart rate goes through your chest. And you suffer through depression and all kinds of stuff like that. People just think, well, that's just what everybody does. But it's not. It's not the way everybody lives. And once you wake up to it, once somebody wakes up, hey, you know what? There's a different way to look at life, and here's this and that, and I suggest you go here and do that. Guess what? I look at life totally different now. I'm happier than heck. Don't have any anxiety at all. Like literally no anxiety at all. So he could have been struggling with this for a really long time. And then there's just then there's the more biological aspect of it, which I'm not even sure of. But there's just some people apparently that just have a biological problem or chemical issue or something like that. So my guess is he's probably been going through it for a very long time. Even when he was in junior, like when you're in junior, he's so talented that he could not sleep for 2 days and still absolutely crush it in junior. Like he could have really, he was that talented. You think Wedgwood will be trashed this year? Probably. In the AHL? All right, we got up to 40 playbacks. I'm pretty happy about that. I'd like to get next week, I'd like to get up to double-digit likes. We're getting into the regular season here. We're going to start banging this, doing getting 20, 30 concurrent viewers, crushing it, because this is the best stream in the land. Don't tell Peyton or John I said that. This is the best stream in the land, right? Right. Make sure you tell everybody that. The best stream in the land. That should be my slogan. Actually, that's what my title is going to be. The best stream in the land. The best NHL live stream in the land, right here. That's what I'm going to change my title to that tomorrow. Anyways, guys, I got to go get the little lady. And I'm happy to do so. You guys are amazing. I love doing this with you. I'll get this video probably tomorrow. I'll probably put it up on the weekend. I did a video today of the second part of Bounce Back Players. And I'll put that out probably tonight or tomorrow. And I'll be back with you, apparently, with Peyton on the radio. So, be ready for that. Have a great day, everybody. That's my full 42. Okay, bye.